Hello and welcome to Real Hi-Fi Help. This is me giving you guys my thoughts on listening to my second hi-fi system after 6 months. So I haven't listened to this for, I think, at least 6 months. Um, this is it, this is my more basic opposite type of sound system. And I don't give it much of a listen because I just have a much better audio note system upstairs. But once in a while, I do listen to this just to kind of give myself a different type of sound, reset my brain. I think that's a good thing to do. I think that's a very good thing to do. I feel that if I don't do this, then I start becoming a bit biased, telling myself things that aren't necessarily true. So I do this once in a while just to kind of reset my brain and get a bit of reality check on what I'm doing upstairs mainly. It isn't a perfect room. It isn't all the things that I usually preach about. It's like the compromise, different type of room that I listen to very seldomly with my family for reasons of living with someone and having to compromise. This is how it turned out to be. So this isn't the stuff that I usually preach about. Also, notice the dimensions. The dimensions aren't that good. It's about 6 x 6 meters, which isn't really that good. You really want 6 x 7 meters, something like that. And there's a huge, when you look at the pictures, there's a huge space that's missing between the speakers and the walls. But it just can't make it work in this room, having walls close to it. So no, it's not optimal. But actually, when I tested this double negative pull on the speaker cable, it actually made it seem as if the wall wasn't here but more like over here. So that helped quite a bit. So yeah, for basic music like Elvis, Katie Melua, stuff like that, it's an awesome system. It really feels like you've got like an old retro system that's one of the better ones. But I mean, this isn't one of those systems that get into the top 1,000 systems in the world. It just doesn't. It's there's a lot of stuff out there that can beat this system, but I just wanted to show you this to you guys because I also have some considerations about it why I make this video here. So this is me having made this floor. This is real marble floor. I think it's some kind of black marble thing. By the way, I didn't pay full price for it. I got it from a dumpster container. Working on this floor myself. It's very thick. It's about 1.5 inches thick. Very heavy. Cold floor. Yeah, no floor heating, of course. And then there's a bit of I don't know what you call this. In Danish called gipsplade. I just can't remember the English word for it. Drywall. That's it. Drywall. I've created a drywall between here and that wall over there, which is brick. And that kind of boosts the sound from the speakers in a good way. Just to let you guys know. I mean, I've got metal spikes on stone. It's not optimal. It's not optimal, but yeah, it's what I can do with that room that's available. If I had an extra room, of course, I would most likely use that. I would prefer a room that wasn't this big. This is about 36 square meters. It's on the big side of what these speakers can really handle. So you really want something more like a 20 square meter room, or maybe 25 square meter room for these speakers. But still sounds pretty okay, So this is the gear. Speakers, we've got Vandersteen, we've got Sugden, which is like a 15-year-old heavily modified transistor A-class watt amplifier. It's about 25 watts. And I remember the guy telling me that when we upgraded it got like about 2 watts more. So it's a bit... It's not doing a fantastic job driving these speakers. These are pretty big speakers to drive pretty heavy speakers, and it is a room that, you know, demands a lot of power, so not the best combination, but we made it work. You know, we made some good upgrades. By the way, there are some stone slabs here on top of the Sugden, because this Sugden here gets crazy hot. I don't know what the temperature is it gets up to, but it's, I don't know, in the 60 to 80 degree area. It gets hot, so you can't have plastic feet on it. It just melts it off. That's why I have those stone slabs here. Not an optimal solution, because to some degree that probably creates some vibrations, possibly. So not optimal. This piece of gear, I mean, it cost like $3 off a flea market. Got some very basic cables on it, basic power draw, basic power bar. This entire group here is shared with like 3 other rooms. Not optimal at all. I can actually hear when someone's in the kitchen making food, and they're just turning it on. You can hear the singer go like, you can actually hear that significant change. So yeah, if you haven't got a dedicated circuit breaker, power group, whatever you call it, get that done. That does a huge difference. So yeah, not optimal, but it's just different, you know. It's very different compared to what I have upstairs. So even though it's lacking in many areas, it's just good to hear something that's opposite and very different. CD player, yeah, very good CD player actually. That's the old CDX 1030 Yamaha model. Originally had a bit of a tame, okay type of sound. Now it's got a lot more bite, a lot more color, a lot more power, a lot more control, just a lot more evolved than the original one. But yeah, that's from 1991. And it still works. And when you turn that on, you get this sort of glass warming type of smell coming out of it. I think it's because he uses some kind of, I can't remember if it was glass condensators or transistors or what it was, I can't remember. But I don't think those things are legal anymore, that Yamaha used in this CD player. But charming. It's got its faults, you know. It's a bit slow on releasing the drive and putting it in. Sometimes it doesn't pop out, then you have to push the button twice. And yeah, one of my friends actually lost the remote control for this thing. It's a bit annoying, but yeah, that's what happens, you know. Supposed to be in some of his moving boxes, but yeah, shit happens. Luckily, I've got all the functions on the CD player, so that's fine. And yeah, dual LP player, like the most basic okay thing, you know. This could be anything on the market. You could probably catch this for like $50 or $100 used. I mean, it plays LP, and it's like wouldn't say the most basic, but close to the most basic sound you can get. Audio design preamp, I think it's like the rear, the power supply, and the preamp also upgraded. Pretty decent. Got that for a really good price. So yeah, I had to buy that for my friend. When I want something, you know. This system hasn't cost a lot of money. How much has it cost? I think I paid almost full price for the speakers, what they cost new in the US, even though I bought them used. Then amp, I can't remember, $500 new. Upgrading it, also $500. Now it has a sound that's more like a regular 8 to 10,000 buck transistor amplifier. Just not as powerful. Preamp, yeah, like a normal 3, 4, 5,000 preamp, dollar preamp. How much did I pay for that? I can't remember. I think it was like $800, including modification, something like that. I can't remember. CD player, how much did I pay for that? I think I only paid like $300 for that used back in, I don't know, 2008, something like that. And then I got it modified for like $500. Guy did a fantastic job. Take my hat off to that. Still works, still sounds good. Awesome job. If you're watching this, this could easily, this could easily match Macintosh MCD 301. I think it's about that level, and for that amount of money, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's stuff that happens when when you've been looking for used gear every day, single day, the last 20 years time, and you just you're lucky you discover that, and you're lucky you have a friend that can do that, and yeah, you get lucky, that's a bit of luck, that's not normal. That's not normal. But yeah, you can get some higher models here. You can get like a CDX 3000, 5000, maybe 10,000 model. I can't remember if they made it 10,000 models. Damn, I can't remember. But those are supposed to be quite a bit better, which you also can modify. But almost no people that want to get rid of those, or they're just destroyed because they're so old. I'm surprised mine still is alive. I mean, that's about 30 years old. It's almost 30 years old, I think it is 30 years old, yeah. That's insane for a CD player. And yeah, the CD player is actually driving the Sugden amp. You can do that. You just lose a lot of gain when you do that. But the reason why I did that was because when I had the preamp on, it was more powerful. It had more control, had more drive. But I just felt like I kind of lost that really intimate short signal type of sound, where it's more about the signature, more about the fragility of the sound, it being fragile. So that's why I did it. Is that right? Is that wrong? I don't know. Sometimes I just switch, and when you can switch, it's just fun. It's a bit like using a Macintosh CD player to drive an MC275 Macintosh tube amp. It's a bit like that. Cables, yeah, this is again where I'm going against what I'm telling you guys. In this system, because I'm lacking money, I don't have enough money. I've just used basic hardware store cables and a power bar, and I can hear it. I'll definitely tell you that I can hear it. It does turn up, and that's one of the reasons why I choose to listen to safe music. Dire Straits, Katie Melua, Louis Armstrong, Elvis, stuff like that. Slow music. As soon as it gets a bit too complex, you can really hear that it just falls apart, But yeah, I could really use a dedicated circuit breaker, a cable in the wall that's better, like one of those Oyade SWOXXE plugs, wall plugs. It could really, help a lot with the signature. But to what it does well, it plays this type of music, and it's very clear that not having sidewalls very close to the speaker affects the sound a lot, where it kind of gets unstable and pumps music out in an irregular way, especially when complex music is run on it. But like I said before, double pull of cable on mine has helped me a lot with this type of problem, so that's one of the reasons why I want to share this video. And I noticed some things, it's been a while since I listened to the system, and because of that, I've noticed a tiny bit more happening in this system. This system is a lot more raw, simple, unfiltered than my main system. And, with simple music, it sounds pretty good. I wrote crazy good. I wouldn't say that, listening to it for the first time after 6 months, yeah. The first couple of minutes, I was like, whoa, I was like, whoa. But, a couple of songs in, I could hear that it wasn't as good as I'd really thought it was. So, yeah, to start with, it sounded crazy good. But that's mostly because of my memory of not listening to it was kind of like wiped clean, for a short while. And but as soon as I put stuff like Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, or Star Wars classical music, it just half collapses, I just find that interesting because I actually hear that a lot at other people's places. And yeah, I just forgot how this system sounded like. It's a weird thing when you haven't heard your system for about a half a year, and it just brought me back to that memory of having my YBA system on this particular speaker, YBA amplifier, and then I had YBA CD player in a much smaller room than this, and it was just, oh man, I could just cry and cry. It was that good. But this doesn't really come close to that. It still sounds, like a decent system. But I was just reminded by that. It just brought, almost brought made me shed a tear almost. Because I was like, oh yeah, those days, miss those days. And it's just funny how this system that I used to use quite a bit in the olden days now sounds so bad to me because I'm just used to a much higher standard. And back then, I just listened to safe music, so the sound would be a lot more stable. And it just, to me, sounds like the system, the more complex the music gets, the more difficult it has gripping the speaker, and I also remember measuring power draw on my old Macintosh MA6900 amplifier, and it seemed just very clear that the more traffic you get in the music that you're listening to, together with an increased volume, the more power draw. You simply just draw more power, and when you draw more power, it sets your gear in like a worse position where it demands more of your gear, and so when I was listening to, I don't know, Katie Melua, it was like in this range here, and where complex music, it was more in this range here, where it went from like 25 to 50 to 150 watts, with my old Macintosh gear. And that's it, increasing the volume, having a lot happen in the music. It does that, and when you have several instruments right after each other very fast, you notice these things. And I just noticed that, wow, this old system that I have here, there's a reason for why I don't usually listen to it, but I listened to about an hour, and then the other day I listened to about 1 or 2 hours, and then that's that. I'll probably listen to the system again in, like, I don't know, a couple of months time. But I'm just saying it's good. It's good to have a system if it's possible. Maybe like this or something else, or it could even be headphones, just to kind of reset your brain and feel as if you're not lying to yourself, that you're not going nuts, that you're not telling yourself stuff that isn't true about your real system that you like, you know? I just felt that this was a good way of kind of illustrating that point. So yeah, it's a very flawed system, you know? I can really hear not having a sophisticated power bar and all of this, you know, good power setup that I have upstairs. I can really feel that this is like a hollowed out version of this system, that this system could potentially play 2.5 times better just by you know, getting a slightly smaller room, sidewalls closer, a lot better cables, a lot better wall socket, a lot better power bar, dedicated circuit breaker, in-wall cable that's decent. Just, it could improve a lot just by those small things, and that's not really changing anything about the system, you know, just the things around it. So yeah, and I also noticed that if I had my CD on for like 5 hours or 10 or maybe 20 hours time, that I noticed this before, not the last time I used it. I noticed it before that it could just really change the character of the music coming from the CD player, you know. For some reason, this thing changes character quite a bit. I think all the way up to about 48 hours, this thing can just sound very different. You know, it can go in like 3, 4, maybe 5 small stages. So that's also very interesting, and this thing just gets ridiculously hot. I think the first half an hour it's reasonably cool, but after like an hour it gets like crazy hot, and I can't remember if it then gets colder after 5, 6, 7 hours. I can't remember, but yeah, I have to watch out I don't keep that thing on while I'm not in the house, potentially causing a fire hazard. So that's a potential fire hazard. That amp, you know, it's a good amp, but just be careful. Don't place that next to some paper, wood, or like a curtain here. That's not optimal. But yeah, it's also interesting what I did with the whole living room area. You know, acoustic wise, we had some curtains put up here, here, and this actually helps a lot with the acoustic properties. You know, also the whole area here, and usually when I listen to music, I just remove all these chairs, just like here, and then I just place them like one random one here, and that gives a more believable, laggy, organic, human-like sound. Where if it's all stacked up here, not quite as good. You know, I just feel like it's lacking a bit. But if you just place them all over the place, it's just, yeah, it becomes better. And even these candle thingies, you know, it also to some degree helps change the sound a tiny bit. I can't remember really what it does, but yeah, it's a bit messy, not optimal. But yeah, that's how you do it, you know. And these aren't, you know, store-bought curtains, you know. These are curtains that my family made. So yeah, that's how we basically do everything in our lives, you know. We make everything ourselves, make the floor, make the room. It's a bit like a royal hall here for poor people. It's got this like royal part of the ceiling, but that's falling apart. But yeah, we have a lot of bouncy reflections, so these curtain thingies and really helped a lot with that. So yeah, and then this whole soft wall behind, I can't remember what it's called now in American, drywall, that's it. That helps a lot, you know. But before, when it was up against this brick wall thing, it sounded pretty bad, you know, and was lacking quite a bit of natural bass, natural treble, and mid-range. But that little wall that I put up there, and where I isolated, behind that with some proper insulation material, it really changed the sound quite a bit. So small changes. Interesting room. Very different from my other room. And usually we just eat here, we don't listen to music. But once in a while, when it's Christmas or whenever, just listen. Let me just listen to this for like an hour or, yeah. Interesting. Just wanted to share that with you guys. And, like and subscribe if you can. Have a nice day.